Aloha, Kanoe Ino. So glad you could be with us today. You're here to talk
Course.
about Aloha at home. Tell us all about it.
Okay, mahalo. Thank you, Deb, and I appreciate you taking the time. Yeah, so what is Aloha at Home? For those of you who aren't familiar, it's a messaging campaign and it's really aimed at reducing instances of in-home family violence, whether it be makua to keiki or spouse to spouse. We know that there's been an uptick, and so the response we have is we thought is to uh, provide resources to families, but sort of couch them in cultural practice and cultural framing. So that's really what Aloha at Home is. Aloha at Home starts as like parenting is extremely hard. Um, our kupuna know that. And so that's why there were certain values that they relied upon as sort of guideposts. And that's some of the values that we use within Aloha at Home. And we also practice and use best practice sort of Western techniques and frames. And so we try to meld those together so our families, our most vulnerable families, have something that is familiar enough to them, but hopefully useful as well. And so we do that with social media posts. You can follow us on IG and on Facebook. And another way we do it is through our toolkits. And that's actually what this meeting is about, is that we had a large grant to provide toolkits for the island of Maui, whether it be Lahaina family survivors or Maui at large, because we know that Lahaina families are going through tons of stress, and we know what that can happen. It's like a powder keg, right? When there's housing instability or food instability, and especially now, things can get worse within the home. And I try not to blame anybody because we've all been there and we know how things can tick up pretty quickly. So what we have are these toolkits that we hope can just a little bit of reprieve for families, some family activity stuff, and I'll kind of walk through it. And we're looking for organizations who want some to go distribute to the folks that they serve. We basically had a large grant, and we gave away a bunch to these family days through Keikio but we have a bunch left. And so I reached out to Deb and said, "Hey man, we got all this stuff and we want to give it out free of charge. Just come grab them, and there'll be a process that Deb can share with you folks about it." And so, what are the toolkits? And so, I'll just kind of walk through what we have. The foundational pieces of the toolkits are these three framings. It's anti-alohi, Paki's aloha values, right? And so that's couched in it. And to sort of represent that, we have these magnets. So akahai, and we ask folks to sort of put them around the home, lokahi, and it kind of gives it an example of like, what does this value look like in your home? Because one thing is to like have this abstract value of lokahi, but each of these magnets kind of share what that can look like, yeah, in your home. And go to our website, there's more information about that. The
Yeah, I
second,
love how you've tracked that to the protective factors as
yeah,
well,
right.
right? Yeah,
Right. And then
really.
tied directly to the protective factors, because the protective factors is really a Western framing,
Mhm.
right? But when you look at them, it's like things that our people know, right? That like, so some of the protective factors are like, strong social support. So we knew that. The
Mhm.
concept of the kauhale, like, no, you can't, takes a village to raise a child. These are all the protective factor stuff, and we link them on our website to the different aloha values. And in our toolkits, we have these fun sort of matching games that you can do and sort of cut out that kind of talk about all the protective factors. And you can do it with Keiki as well, right? And some different protective factors are a big component of the toolkit. Another foundational piece we have in the toolkit is the serve and return. And the serve and return, we have this little coaster. And it's a great thing to read over and over. So what is serve and return? It's the really fundamental sort of guidelines for engaging with Keiki, especially between 0 to 5. It's the back and the forth. It's you say something, they repeat, they listen. And this kind of takes it step by step. It's like you unplug, you notice, you encourage play, you name what they're doing, you wait for them to respond to you, and then you respond back, and it just kind of goes back and loop. And what we know is, and this was created or recognized through the Harvard Institute of the Developing Child, right?
Mhm.
And they did all this fancy sort of research and they go like outsized benefit if you get 10 minutes a day with kids, long-term social, emotional, and physical health. Because we know that when keiki feel recognized, they feel heard, they feel seen, as opposed to just go in the corner, kuli kuli, I don't want to talk to you, I want to hear from you, which isn't cultural by and large, right? That's not the way our Kiki were raised. I don't care if you're Hawaiian, if you're Filipino. I mean, like most healthy societies, that's not the way you engage with keiki. And this is, like we always say, like the new Western science kind of comes back to what a lot of, especially island cultures, knew a long time ago.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And so what it does is it says it builds healthy brain architecture. And so what does that do? Your kids just makes your kids more resilient. They're less likely to be emotionally, have poor emotional regulation. They're less likely to suffer from sort of crippling self-doubt because they
Mhm.
feel loved, seen, and heard. So that's what sort of the serve and return thing does. And not only do we have it in a toolkit, but it kind of points you to our website. You can read more about it. You can download free stuff, step guides. And then
A
the
good way to
second,
remember it too, it's like ping pong, right?
like ping pong, it's like
Yeah.
back and forth. It's like serve and return,
Perfect.
right? Back and forth,
Yeah.
back and forth. And kids outsized benefit, right? Like, and the reason I say this, like all of this, I'm a social worker. Sorry, if folks don't know, I'm a longtime social worker. And even me as a father, at times I was a single father. I had my kids on my own. And I wasn't the greatest. Like the reason why I got into this stuff is because I realized that it worked. I don't know if that makes sense. And I hope that makes sense to folks. Like when I paid attention to, especially my younger one, when I paid 10 minutes attention, instead of just popping them on the iPad, come dinner time, different kid.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Yes, dad. Okay, dad. Versus go,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was almost kind of like magic. Now, I cannot guarantee any of this stuff, but I can promise you over time,
Mm.
practicing these things, that sort of serve in return can have outsized benefit, and you should notice it relatively immediately when it comes. And again, all of this recognizes that it's super hard to do in the most expensive place to live in the United States.
Yeah.
So we're really just trying to give tools and reminders for it, to be around the house, and that's kind of what this toolkit is. Yeah. Then a
Mahalo.
second part of the toolkit. Oh, go ahead, Deb.
Oh, I was just going to say, thanks for sharing your personal story too, Kanoe, because I think it's important for people, no matter how much education you might have, as a
Yeah.
social worker, you're still, at the end of the day, parenting is hard, but
I
can.
fail every day.
Yeah.
Every day, like my kids would, you ever interviewed my kids? Okay, this guy, but it's not about being perfect, and that's the stuff where
Right.
that messaging is from Aloha at home is that like Aloha is an aspiration, is a destination, but really it's the journey of trying to be better every day, and that's kind of what these toolkits and the website and the social media messages try to promote is like parenting is extremely hard. The systems around us, especially our most
Mhm.
vulnerable families, are very rarely work in our favor or designed for them
Yeah.
or at the expense of them. And so while this work is not meant to be upstream work, policy work, what it does is hopefully give some sort of respite for the families on the ground. Because it is a two-tiered approach. It is us getting better as a community in our daily interactions with our keiki, but also then, other folks pushing on the larger system to make it easier for our families so they don't have to be as resilient. And that's kind of, what Aloha at Home acknowledge. On our website, the first thing we say is parenting is hard, right? Because we never
Mhm.
want to be assumptive that like you're the only one that's getting it wrong.
Right.
No, it's like everybody's struggling, bro. From the folks that are writing self-help books to the single mom that works 7-Eleven, or work
Mhm.
3 jobs. Like
Mhm.
everybody's struggling to like know what is right. And this stuff is just based on science and kupuna wisdom. Like best practice Western science and kupuna wisdom. Yeah, and with that being said, the second part of it is we have just some fun family activities to do together, and then a component of self-care. And sort of this toolkit is there's some stuff like some essential oils, and this was not designed by me. It's designed by somebody much better. Shelly Tokunaga May, who's a social worker and has her doctorate, and she's been working around keiki and families for years. And there's stuff like, self-care for parents.
Uh,
That's important because that acknowledges that like when you look at why serve and return is important, so we can know that. But we can also know like why doesn't it happen all the time? And one of the number one reasons I would argue is the stressors of life. And if the family or the caretaker doesn't have anything in the tank, it is not realistic that they can give to their keiki. I don't care what the expectation, societal expectation is. The reality is, if they don't have moments of self-care, to sort of regenerate or revive some of their spirit, right? Or to feel, cared for. It's really hard for them to expect that they're going to have tons of energy to do all the best practice stuff, right? I mean, it's easy for somebody who comes from tons of affluence and, I would argue, I don't know. I'm just thinking that they might have a little bit more time. A lot of our families are like from point A to point B, and so, what this toolkit tries to promote is that, like, try to take the time. It's not selfish,
Hmm.
it's actually imperative. It's
Yes.
critical piece to you being the most you can for your keiki. And so this toolkit just has a couple little activities, and the activities are cool. And then there's like some healing essential oil stuff, and but it also a part of that is just a reminder, like, for you to go do it, right? And that the more you engage in it, like, it will have outsized benefits in the way you can engage with your keiki. Yeah.
Mahalo Kanoe. We at a Ho'okaika partnership, we're also trying to promote that message of self-care, not only for parents, but for people in the field working, because same thing, you can't help others in your community, you can't fill from an empty cup. And
Okay.
it's actually an ethical responsibility of social workers and
Yeah.
others to take care of self, and it's not selfish. So thank you
It's
so
not
much
selfish. It
for
is highly
reinforcing that
practical.
message. Yeah,
It is highly realistic. It is
yeah.
highly practical that you take one, and it may not be essentials. That it isn't for me, but for some folks that we have like a roller, so it's like a lomi lomi.
Nice.
Other people is jumping in the ocean. Other people is going to the gym. Other people is binging on Netflix. Like, whatever it is that you need to do. Like, we hope this toolkit tells you, gives you a little bit more social license to, like, you do what you gotta do to be the best version of yourself. Because the best version of yourself is the most important thing you can give your kids. 110%. 110%. The best thing you can give your kids is aloha and the best version of yourself. Now, whatever it takes to get there, that's on you to sort of figure out, right? And a part of that is self-care. Yeah, because we can give them all the stuff in the world, but if we don't give them the best version of ourselves when we interact, then poho, it's kind of pointless. Yeah. So that's my manao. But yeah,
Um,
and again, all of this technology, that's really hard to do. Again, I every day. I give my kids the best version of myself. Aspirationally is 50% of the time. But yeah, the best version of yourself is one that values itself, right?
Yeah. Mahalo, Kanoe.
Yeah.
All right, let's get those toolkits out in the
Yeah,
community.
we get plenty,
All
gang,
right.
and so we'll be showing. Oh yeah, the only thing we ask all of you who do distribute is just try your best to have the families fill out the QR code survey. There's a survey with a QR code. It'll be in the bags. And again, all of you know that just helps us with our funders. If I didn't have to do it, trust me, I wouldn't ask most to do it.
I
But it's the
understand.
way we can be sustainable to get this out to other islands or more for more Maui families. And so there'll be a process that will have folks sign up, and we'll give you certain amounts, and then we'll follow up with you via email. And then, also, if you're like, oh, that was good, Kunai, but can you come talk to someone? Yeah, for sure. I can jump on Zoom too. But yeah, we'd love to get this out within the next months, gang. Leading up to Christmas time.
Absolutely.
Great.
All
So
right. Mahalo.
mahalo to you.
Aloha.
Appreciate it.